don't want
That's what I'm gonna do. You ready? Yes. I think.
All right, well, thank you for coming this afternoon. Just so that you are aware of what's happening, because not all of you have attended some of our events before. Every one of our CIS students are required to do what we call a senior project. And they have to take that project and help decide that project, whether it was something that they were well versed in and needed more to help build their resume, or whether it's something they had little experience in and they needed to grow in that experience. But we formulate an idea, they propose it, we agree, we talk about it, we determine some of the goals that are to make the project adequate, and then we ask them to take that forward and really do it very independently, because we know in our field, a lot of folks say, here's the problem, solve it, and that's about all the help you get. And so we know it's very important to have each one of our graduates begin a project and take it from point A to point B. Sometimes it doesn't get finished. If you know anything about the computer, I don't think it's hardly possible to finish a job on the computer, because there's always improvements that can be made. So to complete her graduation requirements, and I might add, and Michelle may tell this, I don't know what's in her presentation today, but this will be her second degree from HLG. She came back to school, so she will be completing her second degree here, and does some military training, some other things, and so she's kind of reshaping and redirecting her own life. But that's something to brag about, to go back for 2 degrees. I have to think hard about doing the one I'm doing. I don't think I'd ever go back for that second one. All right, and then also on the back table there will be her what we call technical paper. She had to propose her project, and then she had to write a technical paper, and she has to give this presentation and do some evaluation work kinds of things, and we grade that. And so if you're interested in seeing the technical paper, this would be more like kind of a little manual to go along with the project, and it tells what you should be looking for, where to do it. This will be there for you to evaluate. It's not on your paper to do any particular evaluation, but you do need to know that she did. All right, so we'll present, I'll turn it over to Michelle Hurt, and she can take it from here.
Welcome to my presentation. I'm Michelle Hurt, and today I'm going to be telling you about my project, How To. So my project was to help out the CIS department by creating YouTube instructional videos. And the purpose of creating the videos was to help out the students by creating videos that were relevant to what they were learning in class, and to have them all in one place that they could easily get to. So we put them up on the CIS YouTube channel. And what I've got up here is just a picture of, this is actually the networking, the lab tasks that they have to go through. So not all of them are something that will be made into a video, but that's just kind of an example of what they have to do. And so that's kind of just showing you what they have to look at. So these are actually the tasks that Mrs. Todd and I came up with. Each bullet point there is a potential video that I would have, or that I tried to make. Like she said, we don't always complete everything. So after looking at that last slide and what the networking class did, I actually added a few in, and this is what I finished. I got 4 done. But the thing that I did do, I did everything in the lab on our own equipment so that it showed the students that everything is possible to complete on our equipment using all of our own stuff. And each video I started out by summing everything up, kind of a theory side, kind of summing up what Mrs. Todd would have gone over in class, things like that. And then I would go into kind of the lab tasks that they would need to complete on the sheet that I had showed. I also had to do research, kind of refresh my brain a little bit. I had a notebook here. This is where I would keep all my research. Had to stay pretty organized. Did a lot of research here. This was research. I wrote out all of the scripts. Put that over there. Did a lot of script writing, researching. Spent a lot of time just reading through things, kind of relearning, making sure that before I actually get up in front of either a camera computer and telling people how to do something, that I know how to do it first. And when I wrote out the scripts, I tried to stick to them. Most of the time I did. Staying organized was a big aspect of it. It was pretty important, especially within my computer. Whenever I would put things into the computer, it was pretty important to make sure that things were labeled correctly, especially when I did the video on the deployment server. It was a pretty important one because I had to bring in the video and the audio separately. It was pretty loud trying to record audio with servers running, so I couldn't do it. I had to actually separate it out. So I had to do that separately for one. That was pretty hard. It was my toughest one. And then the pictures, I had to do a lot of pictures separately. So if you see, like, the pictures up here are actually labeled, and these down here aren't. I took all these pictures and had to dig through them and dig through them, and so that's how I figured out which ones I was going to use, and these up here are the ones I didn't use. Lots of organization. All these folders here are all the folders of the videos. I was trying to do multiple videos at a time, and some of the videos I do actually have video recorded, but I still didn't get to them. So there's actually still a lot of video in there that I never got to. So there's half videos done, videos that are halfway done, I guess. And so the senior project folder here is just everything, and there's just a lot that goes into it and keeping it organized. I used Cam Studio to record everything that was actually happening on the screen if I was recording an actual computer screen. It's a open source software or free software, and it just records everything that's happening on the computer. And if the video will start, maybe, yeah, there it goes. That just is playing through, showing you what's happening. And I would usually plug in just a USB microphone here like this to record my voice while I was doing it, or sometimes use just headphones to record my voice over on it. Pretty simple software, nothing real fancy with it. And then if I was in front of the screen, I used just my digital SLR camera here. It's not a real fancy camera, it's an older one, but it still worked pretty good. And my hardest thing really that blocked me with this was being creative of how to do the videos. So this is me on camera. This is actually one of the videos, one of the finished videos. And I couldn't come up with really creative ideas of how to draw this stuff. So most of my stuff ended up being squares with handwriting. I don't know why, I'm usually a pretty creative person, and I just couldn't come up with creative ways to just get the concepts across. But I don't know, the main thing was really to help the students get through like the installation of software or things of that sort, more than really reiterating what they learned in class. So this was just kind of, here, this is a summation of what happened in class. Let's get on to like how you install the software. So that wasn't as big of a deal. I used Premiere Pro to edit the videos. I used this because I've worked with it before. I already had it on my computer. So I didn't really have to relearn it as much. I had to relearn it a little bit just because it's been a while since I've used it. And so the way it works a little bit is I would take whatever video or picture even or audio, and I could edit it up here a little bit, and then I could drop it down here, and that's where I did most of my editing. And it's a pretty good software. I like it a lot. With these instructional videos, you don't really do much any fancy stuff with them, so there wasn't a lot that I could do except maybe put a couple of cool transitions. So most of what I did was try to take out a lot of my ums and my big pauses and things like that. This is what it looked like whenever I take out a lot of the ums. There's lots of, everywhere there's a line in there, all the lines right here, like that right there is where I probably said a lot. Something like that. That's pretty much what a lot of the editing came down to, and just trying to get the videos where they're not really long. So, some of the things I learned, one of the biggest things I learned is that the teachers go through a whole lot of just really trying to sum a lot of subject matter that can be really long. This binder is 300 pages out of a 1,500 page book just on one subject. And I didn't finish the video on it because I couldn't figure out how to condense this down into just, maybe 5 or 6 minutes before I went into how to install that part. And so I really appreciate what teachers do. I don't know how Mrs. Todd can condense that down into okay, here, I need you to install this before you move on to the next aspect of class. And it amazes me, kind of blows me away that she can do that in class. So that was something that I learned. And I actually recorded the second part of what that video would have been, but couldn't figure out how to record the first part. I also learned a lot about areas that I am stronger in, things that I knew more about. Some of the subjects I had to research more. Some of them I had to research a lot less. There's some of the research in there is a little thicker, some of it's a little thinner. I realized that a couple of years ago, if my software would have kind of cut out on me or quit on me, I would have freaked out a little bit. Whereas during this project, I think a couple of times it kind of quit working, or I had little hiccups and I just fixed it and went on my way and didn't have any problems with that. So I've definitely grown a lot and learned a lot in that sense. So it's, I definitely have succeeded, I think, in that way. So I can, let's see, we'll actually just exit out of this. I'm going to go out here and I'll actually go to YouTube real quick. I'll give you guys a taste of, this is one of the actual videos on YouTube.
Virtual machines, and then we're going to actually install one on our server.
So let it run for a minute or two so you get a taste of what I
So
actually
if you
do.
don't have server 2012 on your machine, I suggest you maybe pause this and go get that installed and then come back. So those of you that are still with us, a virtual machine. The technical definition from techopedia.com, which is one of my
I'll fast forward it a little bit just so you can get a feel. I would go through and I talked on the thing. I used kind of some slides a little bit too. And then that one I talked quite a bit. And then I would actually get to the computer
I have
and
already
talk through how to install,
obtained my software.
how to
I got
actually go
it
through and
from
put the software,
file share server
whatever it
in
was
our
on
lab.
the computer.
I can show you where you can get that. Come in here to your start menu like so, and just type run. And then backslash, and then put in the IP address of the file share.
So that's just a little bit of how the videos would go and what they would be following along and trying to do the lab task or whatever on the computer. So. And that's about it. So if anybody has any questions or want to see any more of the videos before that I have done, go back out to YouTube, whatever you guys have. So I'm done for now.
Would any of you like to ask her a question or two? Put her on the spot, see how she responds. I have a question.
I have an answer.
Okay. You may have said at the beginning and I wasn't tuned in, why did you choose video editing and that type of thing as a proposed project?
I enjoy video editing. It's something I've done before, but also, well, and I know one thing with just the YouTube videos in general. I know while I was going through the CIS program, when I would go to look for a YouTube video to help me get through like one of those tasks, I would sit there and search for videos, and I would maybe find a video and it'd be like an hour long, and I'd be like, okay, this looks like it might be what I need, and the person in the video would sit there and talk for a little bit. I'm like, okay, I remember hearing this from class, okay, but they talk about that for a half hour, and then they finally kind of get to the task at hand, but it wasn't quite the right thing I needed. Maybe it was on a different platform or something from the computer, than what it wasn't just quite right. And so in doing this on our own equipment and our own labs and that kind of thing, that's why, I don't know if that quite answers your question, but in doing the editing, but just doing the videos in general, that's part of why
I was
chose this.
thinking you were also taking your 2 degrees or something.
Well, and my other degree is communication arts, and I mean, if I did take this to another level, I could possibly look into some jobs working with TV stations, commercial editing, kind of putting all that together is a possibility at some point, could help me out.
So, you said you only got through 4 of the ones you.
Yes.
Have you talked to like anybody else in the program that maybe gonna be willing to like pick it up and continue that for other students?
I have not. I have at least 2 others that are partially done. I would not be opposed to finishing those myself, just because. So I would be fine finishing those. If somebody else would want to pick it up and finish them, I would totally love to give them everything I've got and see if they would want to finish it. And, yeah, I don't know, but nobody else has approached me or even acted like they want to finish any of it. But I enjoy doing this kind of stuff, just for fun even sometimes.
Do you think this kind of project, not necessarily editing, but a senior project, is something that every computer information system student should go through?
I do.
And why?
I think because I not only learned just stuff about the project itself, but like I said, I learned stuff even about myself. I gained a whole lot more confidence in myself in general. Being in front of the camera, because I'm usually behind a camera, and I learned a lot of stuff about teaching, how the teachers have to think and work. I learned a lot of stuff outside of the project in general, and I think that's very important. So.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
What was the question?
Is there anything I would have done differently? I don't think so. I tried to stay as organized as I could, and that I think helped a lot. I tried to think of other ways to try and organize things. I could have thought of another way to try and organize it all, but organizational freak. And you saw how those folders were. It's just, I don't know if maybe working on a single one at a time, or if, I don't know if there was another way to do it. I would make my ideas. Anybody else?
Good.
All right, well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.
And I would echo that. Thank you all for coming. Every student we have has to give a presentation of this nature. It's to emulate being in front of a board or a committee. And so you have been those professionals, and we leave her a couple of comments that she can learn from and learn by in this experience. But next time we announce a student doing a presentation, hope you'll come by and see what they're up to, because each one is a little different. So if you give me those forms before you leave, that'd be great. Let's give Michelle a big hand.